Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to see you. I had no idea that Trish was going to go off so early tonight. So I thought I still had like half an hour. And then I realized that she'd been off for a little while and I didn't want everyone just sitting around doing nothing. So I had to rush to get everything sorted out and get the show started. I'm sorry about the late show, early finish to my show yesterday. I had to take the cats to the vet, and it's like one of those things. It's like when you think everything's just going to be all right, everything goes backwards. And unfortunately, I don't know if some people saw. I posted on the Facebook page. We found out yesterday that Rory has to have surgery before Christmas because the vet closes from the 24th to like the 15th of January, and they want to do aftercare with her at least once before Christmas. So we have to go on this holiday, come back within a day, drop her into the vet, and then get her surgery done. Oh my god, it's just one of those things. I am stressed out. I think the wedding going on this trip and this wedding has been extremely stressful. Throw in the cat stuff and other things, and it's just been I'm exhausted. Natasha, hey, good to see you. Diamond Heart, Diane Marie. It's something to do with her like back of her jaw or something, so they have to fix it. They said if they don't fix it, it could cause her to stop eating. So they want to get it done like as quick as possible. Other than that, they're in really good condition. The only thing is they're like, this surgery, it'll be like $1,500, and I'm like, we're going away like to a wedding that's already costing like a few thousand, and then she's like, "Oh, can you fit it in before Christmas?" I'm like, "Really? Come on." I'm like, "Can we do it when we get back?" And she's like, "No." The vet's like, "It really has to be done now," and I was like, "Oh, freaking hell!" So just when you think everything's going right, life throws you a curveball, apparently. But other than that, like Muffin and Rory, they tested okay. Their weight's good. Their checkup was good. Other than that issue with Rory, everything's pretty good. They said that they're pretty healthy. Retire says, "Ping, we will miss you if you need to take some time off." I'm just a little drained at the moment. I'm just a little drained. I think yesterday was more emotional than I thought it was going to be because Muffin's a biatch to get into his cage. He's really not nice. He's not a good boy. He's not a good boy when he gets into his cage. Um. Oh, really, Diamond Heart? I can totally sympathize. It's just a nightmare. Um. Today, now that we got the chit chat and housekeeping over and done with, the jury finally came back in the Clare Nowland case, and they have found that cop guilty of manslaughter. So, if you don't remember this case, his name is Christian White. He was the police officer called to come and deal with a 95-year-old woman who has a walker and apparently a couple of knives. They ended up tasering her. She hit the ground, hit her head in the fall, and suffered a bleed on the brain. She ended up dying in hospital a few days later, and this was the trial to determine whether he had authority to fire that taser in his line of work. So I'm going to play it for you. Here we go. This happened only a couple of hours ago.
Officer has been found guilty of manslaughter after he used his taser on the 95-year-old great-grandmother at her Snowy Mountains aged care home. Relatives of Clare Nowland embraced in the courtroom as the result was read out after about 4 days of deliberation from the jury. Court reporter Jamie McKinnell joins us now from outside the New South Wales Supreme Court. Good afternoon, Jamie. So take us through how this unfolded.
Good afternoon, Ros. Well, Senior Constable Christian White faced a jury trial in the New South Wales Supreme Court, which lasted for about 8 days, and he was facing a single charge of manslaughter after he was called to Yallambee Lodge in Cooma in May last year. Now, that was where 95-year-old Clare Nowland had been wandering her aged care home with a knife, and she had gone into other residents' rooms, The court heard that there was a conversation or an interaction with 2 police officers and 2 paramedics over a couple of minutes when they eventually found Clare Nowland. And Senior Constable Christian White eventually said, "Nah, bugger it," and used his taser on Clare Nowland after she had been ignoring directions to either stop moving or put the knife down. One of the key things here was the jury being asked to decide whether his actions were reasonable in those circumstances. He insisted that he was simply performing his duty as an officer and that he was attempting to manage the danger that was presenting itself at the time. But today, after about 4 days of deliberations, the jury has disagreed and they've come back with a guilty verdict for that single charge of manslaughter. When that result was read out, Christian White was standing in the courtroom and he had his hands clasped in front of him. As soon as he heard the words guilty, he put his head and his eyes down towards the floor. And we heard relatives of Clare Nowland, several relatives were becoming emotional in the courtroom and they were hugging and holding their hands over their mouths. So what this means now is that Christian White will eventually face sentence proceedings. Clare Nowland's relatives have issued a statement saying it'll take some time for them to come to terms with this verdict and what it means for them. And Christian White has left the court building now. He was asked a lot of questions by journalists who were following him down the street, but he made no comment about the result today.
And
I'm going to leave it there because it basically just drones on about stuff we already know. A very interesting decision, took a long time. That's a pretty long jury decision in Australia. They don't normally hang around for that long. It's normally pretty, like a day or two, this long. It tells me there was some bridge making that had to happen between whatever factions were in that jury room. And very interesting, I think it's hard because cops have a hard job. They have to have tricky situations, people with weapons, knives. But I think it shows you that the jury says that you've got to have some discretion in the way you deal with situations as well. And that, when you're facing a 95-year-old woman, maybe tasering her is not the best option because it's probably going to injure her anyway. But it's very unfortunate. Her family, Claire's family, I'm pretty sure have a civil suit open as well, being that he's found guilty of manslaughter, at least right now. We'll learn if he goes to appeal. It opens that civil suit wide open. They will have to settle with New South Wales Police, I think. There won't be a trial for that one. They'll just settle for some undisclosed amount and probably an apology, and we'll never hear of it again. What kind of sentencing could he get? I've seen a few different figures thrown around if he does go to sentencing this year. I would expect something like 7 years, but he's probably going to serve something like 18 months. That's my opinion. I don't know if I don't know what other legal experts believe, but that's Ping's opinion that he's probably going to be something like 5 to 7, and he's probably going to literally serve maybe not that long. He's going to be in and out. If he got more than that, I'd be very impressed with the legal system. But I see a lot of you commenting. Diane Marie says, Ping, you need to get some rest before the wedding. Unfortunately, I can't. You guys don't understand how YouTube works. If you take time off, it deranks your videos and you end up getting screwed over by the algorithm. So, say I was to say, I'll come back when I get back from holidays. Well, it would just destroy all the work I put in this year. It would just set me back to zero by the time I got back. So, as much as I love to do that, I enjoy doing this show every day too. As much as I got a lot on my plate at the moment, I like being here as well. I like talking news with all of you. So an interesting result. I reckon. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a massive sentence. Could even be half of that. We'll see what this. It depends what type of judge they get for the sentencing, and can you replay for a breather? I don't know if we can or not. I don't know if we can. Work from home. Oh, it's thunderstorming right now down here. Yeah, that's right. I'd miss you all too much. And that's right. That's why I have to be here. I don't know. I'm gonna start playing around with some of the shorts features to try and keep some of the rankings up. When I, for whatever reason, if I can't get a show out, I'm gonna have a look at doing that. We'll see. Other than that, good to see you. Oh, did I say hello to everyone? Marylanders Gambler, Danny Mitchell, April B, Lisa Foster, Moonlight View is here. I feel very privileged. Who else is here? Diane Marie, Mamma Mia, Gayla's here, Lynn D, Diamond Heart, Laura T. I don't know who this was. MLS. Good to see you, MLS. I'm just trying to see who else we got on this list that I haven't said hello to. Retired RN, good to have you. My friend Natasha. I think I said hello to everyone else. Oh, Gambler's here. Hey, Gambler, good to see you. All right. Hopefully I said hello to everyone. All right. I wanted to bring you an update about a case we haven't talked about in ages. Check this out. So this has been brewing for a couple of days now. Some information came out yesterday that a wildlife carer anonymously has challenged. So what do you guys remember what happened with Molly the magpie? It was taken away via order from Desi, and then the Premier of Queensland ended up intervening, and it sounds like he's forced his own agency to get these people a license to keep the bird. Well, now someone challenged it to the court, and it has been overturned. So Molly the magpie is now back to basically where we were earlier this year. The options are it can go to a sanctuary or it'll be euthanized. That's it. They are not entitled to that license according to the court. They sided with the wildlife carer, the anonymous wildlife carer. They sided with them, and they have flipped that decision from earlier this year. It's very interesting, but some explosive documents came out today. So when they originally took the bird last year, they took it to an RSPCA veterinarian, and they asked the vet to do a full report on the bird. Now, their report counters some of the claims that the family have given to the media, people, everyone. So the story that we've all heard is that this bird does not live with them, right? We've all heard the story that the bird lives up in a tree and that it can't come down. Like it goes when it wants to. Like it'll go up to the tree, it'll come down, it'll go in the house when it wants to, it'll fly away. But a leaked copy of the RSPCA veterinary examination report about Molly the magpie revealed the bird was unable or unwilling to fly more than 2 meters and could never be released into the wild. They also said that during its early formation, so after it was born and it was like a baby magpie, they believe it possibly had the wrong diet, which caused some sort of malformation of some of its bones and structure of its wings, meaning it can't fly sort of properly. It can fly, but just not super like a wild bird would be. And they're saying that this might be due to poor diet when it was young. And they said here on Monday, a Queensland Supreme Court judge overturned the granting of a specialized wildlife carer's license to the couple who care for Molly the magpie. And they say, in the wake of that decision, Queensland's Department of Environmental Science and Innovation, or DESI, conceded it should not have given Miss Wells and Mr. Mortensen the license. So they sided with the court. They're saying that they agreed the entire time that they should never have had the bird, even though the premier stepped in and tried to overrule them. They're saying Daily Mail can reveal that the RSPCA Queensland's Wildlife Veterinary Director examined Molly, who is actually a male bird, after the bird was first seized and found that it was unable to live in the wild. They said the physical evaluation was conducted on March 5 in an outside flight aviary, where Molly seemed to, at first appearance, be bright, alert, and responsive, but they said the bird exhibited human behavior consistent with human habitation, seeking repeatedly to climb up or land on the shoulder of the vet or on the head, despite the availability of many other places to perch in the aviary. And they said the bird seemed reluctant to fly, but when pressed, was observed to fly only short distances up to 2 meters and would not gain any height when doing so. So it only flew at a low level, only a couple of meters above the ground. Which would demonstrate to you that it's used to flying indoors, where it has a space limit to how high it can fly. Right, in a home, you can't go too high because it'll hit the roof. They're saying an examination found Molly was in good general body condition with appropriate plumage, but X-rays detected abnormalities in some of the wing bones. They say radiographic changes to several bones on both wings were observed. The cause of these changes were not evident on clinical examination, but may relate to an inappropriate diet as a juvenile bird. The vet concluded Molly, whose fate remains unclear, should not be released into the wild, so it can't be released as a natural bird. So we are still to find out what is going to happen with Molly the magpie. But as far as I know, there's only two options: release the bird to a sanctuary or euthanize it. They are their two options, really. That's it. All right. Yeah, the giant thunderstorm overhead right now. It's going a bit bonkers here. I think it's because it's been so hot. So I'd love to know what you all think about this. And I've seen some interesting comments from people who are like, isn't there better things to do in the world than just argue over a bird? And I sort of agree. There's, women dying at unusual rates in our society, and, murderers to catch and things like that. Yeah, so I don't know what's gonna happen. It's now back. So the ball is in now the government department of DESI. They are now the ones that will probably make the decision on what happens going forward. I would suggest that that's probably gonna be what happens. The argument here between that is it mean to take the bird to a sanctuary where it'll be caged for the rest of its life? Or do you give it to the people it's always had as its carers? So, I see this kind of like both sides of the argument. People are like, well, it's the law. You can't keep native animals. So the sanctuary is the only option. And then I hear people saying, well, you're going to make the bird's life more miserable by taking it away from the people it knows and who raised the bird. So I see both sides of the argument. Moonlight View says, send him to a sanctuary. He's defenseless if they let him roam. No, they won't let him roam. It's either euthanasia for the bird or go to the sanctuary. What was that? Pistol and something? Can't remember what their names are. Robbie T says, hello to everyone. Hello. Good to see you. Danny Mitchell says, can't live in the wild because other birds will make fun of his name. That's right. They'll make nursery rhymes about him. Poor bird. I agree. Gayla says, what good does it do taking it away now? Well, the wildlife carer who started this court action said that by allowing this couple to keep the bird, you are fostering an intent with the public to take animals when they see them. So, oh my God, a baby bird dropped in my yard. I should be like Molly the magpie's parents and take it and raise it in my home because they did it. They didn't get in trouble. So I should do that too. That's their argument to the court. So, not my argument, just explaining what their argument is. Laura T says, leave Molly with the people who've been taking care of her. This should not be in court. I can tell you one thing. I can give you one insight. If the people who had been raising this bird had never told anyone, had never made a social media, had never tried to advertise that they had a tamed pet, would any of us know about it? Would we be in court right now? Like, would anyone even know that they had a pet magpie? So this is maybe a lesson to people to keep your trap shut and stop trying to be, famous on Instagram. Like if you had told no one, no one would know. No one could report you because they wouldn't know you had a bird. They didn't know for the first 2 years of the life of the animal. So I sort of feel like partially this entire thing is on the people, the carers of Molly, because not everything needs to be put on social media. April B says we would never have known. I don't think so either. I think that at the end of this, if the bird goes to a sanctuary or is euthanized, about the only person you have to blame is that couple. I mean, you can't put the blame on anyone else. It's them. You can say they tried to do their best. You can say they whatever, but they also tried to make money from the bird. They also tried to sell merchandise. They also tried to make a cartoon series about Molly the Magpie. They also tried to get their crack into superstardom through the bird, not through anything they did, through the animal. So there you go. That's my sort of other side of the argument there. Lindy says, yeah, I raised a crow. No social media back then, or I would have been in trouble. I think a lot of people have rehabilitated animals without, demonstrating it on social media. Maggie merch, yes. Hey, good to see you, my friend. I hope you had a good show today. Was it today that you did the interrogation method show? I hope it was. Lindy says, I raised a crow. Yeah, we already read that. Why did it put that one back up? Crows are so cool. Apparently, they're very smart. Lindy says he was a wonderful, smart bird. I could see that. Jojo says my family got caught with a raccoon. It accidentally bit my brother, and we had to take him to hospital. My parents liked him more than the raccoon. It reminds me of that peanut squirrel type episode we had a couple of months ago, and maybe this will end up being something similar. Unfortunately, it'll be the Australian version of it. Gayla says yes, but it stopped when they got him back. So why interfere again? You're basically going to get the bird killed. What good is that? So the people, the wildlife carer who started the court action, said that online trolls had been trolling real wildlife carers who do this out of the goodness of their own heart and had been doxing them online, all because they were sticking up for their side of the argument, which is that the couple should never have got the bird back because in their expert opinion, being wildlife carers, that this is inappropriate. And that's why they started the court action. I would say he needs a very good lawyer. He needs someone who's going to really beat down these charges and provide some extenuating circumstances to the court to try and get some sort of like community corrections order, or I don't know, a wholly suspended sentence instead of serving actual time. But I think it's going to be something like 18 months. I think he'll get sentenced like 5 to 7, but it'll be like 18 months in real time. I don't know if they're gonna suspend it for 18 months or whatever, but we'll find out. We'll find out. Moonlight View says, I know several people who have giraffes. You can't really move them. So one is legally the property of LA County. So he lives on the true owner's. What? A giraffe? Where do you even go buy a giraffe from? It's not like they just fall out of trees and you're like, oh my God, I found a baby giraffe. I'm going to raise it now. Where do you get a giraffe from? And some magpies, yeah. I don't have an update on Hannah as of right now. There's just a lot of conspiracy theory type stuff going on with Hannah and Ryan, and Steve waded back into the debate after Ryan died, and I think he stirred up a little bit more discussion is the word I'm going to use. Giraffes are a dime a dozen, just like African lions, right? I see them all the time when I go to the shops. I'm like, oh, that guy with the African lion again. I'm like, he always ties it up out of the front of the butcher. I'm like, isn't that mean to the lion? He wants to have all that, all the butcher meat. Moonlight View says, go figure, one in Malibu, one in Pilot Point in Texas. It reminds me of the emu that lives in New Orleans. There's a emu that lives over there, and apparently every so often it goes on a rampage and starts attacking cars because it thinks it's seeing another male emu. So it starts attacking people's cars and damaging them, but he's been there for like 10 years or something. So well, one day we'll have to do that one. We'll have to tell you about the emu in New Orleans. You have a house panther. All right. Jojo says a circus, of course. They sell them in the parking lot. What, as souvenirs? So you go see the clowns, and then they're like, hey, pick up your miniature giraffe to take home. Lisa Foster says, I grew up with a kangaroo. Hey, be nice to your daughter. That's not a great nickname for her. Excited Utterance says, emus are angry mofos. They are. That is true. I've seen the ad with that, the insurance ad in the USA. They have the emu and the guy with the mustache, and they get on crazy adventures to advertise insurance. I've seen that. Lisa Foster says she hates me calling her that. Gayla says, I would never go see clowns. Well, they're pretty spooky. So yeah, there we go. Update on Molly the Magpie. I don't know where we go from here, but it doesn't sound good. It does bring into contention their claims that this bird can apparently fly into like a 30-meter, 50-meter tree, which is what they've claimed several times, is that the bird can fly, and be safe at the top of a tree. But when in the veterinarian aviary, it wouldn't go very high, and they deliberately have different places the bird can go to see how, where it wants to go. The fact it stayed very low to the ground is concerning. It says that possibly some of their claims are not quite what they say they are. So I'm just seeing if there's anything else. Here's that letter. Here's the examination letter from the RSPCA in Queensland. And you guys, I'm not going to read it out. We've read most of it, but actually I can put it on the screen. Oh, that's even worse. Ping. Oh, you silly thing. There we go. These websites are so badly coded. So there you go. You guys can see it there. No clowns. All right, no clowns. There was footage of the bird flying. Why would it not fly when it was at the RSPCA though? I'm not a bird scientist. I don't know. But it is interesting. And it's interesting they found malformation of some of the internal structure of the bones. What does that mean? I don't know either. It doesn't sound good though. Diamond Heart says, just found out from my army soldier son, he gets to come home for Christmas. That is good news. I hope your son has a great Christmas with you. Frightened and stressed? You should have seen Muffin yesterday. I've never seen him. He peed everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, Cat, come on. We're trying to take you to the vet. We don't have to wash half the entire house. And he was like, he's just being really naughty. He's very scared, though. He's a scared boy. He doesn't like the vet. Jojo says it may be able to glide down, but not fly up. That can happen. That could be true. That could be true. All right. That's the That's the 2 out of Australia that I have. I really don't have a ton about Hannah, to be honest. I know everyone's so interested in talking about it, but I really just don't have a lot. Since Ryan died, it's mostly community driven at the moment. So a lot of the news coming out, well, not news, but a lot of the conversation is happening online, not from authorities. So a lot of it's true crime people. Steve's talking about it a little bit, and a lot of conspiracy theories that people believe it was because of some reason other than he broke down is why he did what he did. I don't know. Here's an update from Fox 11 LA. I'll play this for you.
Developing news in the case of a missing Maui woman who vanished after landing at LAX. Her father has been found dead right near the airport. Loved ones say he took his own life. Fox 11's Haley Wizzo. She's live at LAX now with more tonight. Haley.
Marla, this is where things started to take a turn for the worse for Hannah Kobayashi when she missed her connecting flight on a quick layover, which then led to her disappearance in LA. Now, in a very disturbing turn, yesterday morning, about a mile away from here, her dad, who's been leading the search, took his own life.
It's almost too much for anyone to bear, but we're still here.
One tragedy on top of another. Ryan Kobayashi takes his own life after 2 weeks of exhausting the search for his missing daughter, Hannah.
He died of a broken heart. He broke. He mentally broke. And that's the thing. It's like, you don't know how you would react unless it was your daughter.
Right. Hannah's aunt, Laree Pigeon, says they are fully confident she is alive in LA, but not safe.
What makes you believe she's in extreme danger?
The family has fears of her being sex trafficked and being held against her will.
Without disclosing details that could jeopardize the case, Pigeon says people have most recently spotted the 30-year-old Maui woman around Metro's Union Station and, quote, it didn't look good. Before suddenly vanishing, Kobayashi was seen on video exploring the Grove, Crypto.com Arena, and back at LAX on November 11th, trying to rebook the connecting flight she missed 3 days earlier. Then her phone went dead. Described as a responsible, level-headed woman who sticks to her plans, last week, family and friends shared with us her final strange text messages they say sound nothing like her. Deep hackers wiped my identity, stole all my funds. And I'm just really scared, love, and the redwoods if calling me. I risk my freedom if this goes wrong for me, hun. The day after Hannah disappeared, her dad got on a plane, and Pigeon says was doing everything in his power to find her until he just couldn't take it anymore.
Mental.
I'm going to stop it there. There's so many things about this particular case that don't make sense. Like, we keep hearing about these videos that apparently none of us are allowed to see, but we're all want to have to find and look for Hannah. But we're not allowed to know what she looks like, what she looks like in the latest videos. We're not allowed to know what the guy looks like in the latest video. And now this new stuff at new sightings at Union Station. I don't know. This, Steve put out a thing today. Or was it today or last night? He said that he was under the impression that the family is withholding information due to his belief that if this information got out, they would lose support from the public. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just something I've heard. I mean, I read the same thing you did. No idea. But that is a very bold statement to make. Hey, my friend. Hey, Hella. Reminds me of when Sebastian Rogers went missing. People started talking about the family, and then it got convoluted. Now it's 9 months later. People still making dollars off it. That's why I don't talk about it. I will not talk about Sebastian until there's something to talk about. It's just the only people doing it now are lining their own pockets through drama and krama, and the other people are doing it because it drives their viewership and views. I'd rather not have those people watch my channel if that's what they're looking for. I'd rather just tell you when they either have something we can report on, they find him, there's a new lead, there's a new video, something. Not just sit there for 9 months going, oh, I think it's the dad. Oh, I think it's the mom. Oh, let's talk again. Let's go through the first 24 hours for the 80th time this year. I have no interest in doing that. It's so freaking boring. So I agree with you. I agree with you. Gayla says if you charge your phone and use Wi-Fi at the airport, they say you can be hacked. Yeah, it is possible to get hacked through public Wi-Fi. There's a few different ways of doing it. One of them is called a poison well attack. There's another one called man in the middle, which they're both very similar, but it basically involves someone inserting themselves between the line of communication between your phone and either the access point or the server you're trying to reach, and it becomes poisoned. They get access to it, and then they can read all your data, logins, that type of thing. It is a real thing. It does happen quite frequently. Excited Utterance says the drama farmers have been onto Sebastian since about a month in. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't play into that. Same with Summer Wells. I don't report on it anymore. I just don't care. I mean, I care for Summer. I don't care about the minutia that's making the whole case more muddy than it has to be. I think sometimes in true crime, people get so addicted to, oh, I've got 5,000 in my chat tonight because I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff that's not true, but I'm going to make it sound really interesting so you all come here and hang out. I mean, I'd rather have my ethics and morals instead than having 5,000 people in my chat. Rachel says, exactly, yeah, it's stupid. I know. I saw this the other day. So a bunch of people emailed me saying, have you seen that Seth has a YouTube channel? I did. I haven't watched it, so I can't tell you anything about it because I'm not going to watch it. I don't think any of them are in the clear here, and I don't think any of them really have the higher moral ground until they find that kid and we all know what happens. I don't think anyone really has, the positive position here to do anything. At the end of the day, the kid is still missing. We don't know where. We can't find him, and no one's seen him since February. So you keep making your YouTube videos about it, Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's nothing there. There's nothing there. Do you believe? All right, I'll ask you the same question I ask everyone about the Summer Wells investigation. Do you think we know much more than 1 month after Sebastian went missing? I asked the same question about Summer Wells, and the answer is no. There really isn't. After the search wound down, we don't really know much else. Like, we know little bits of like personal details about the family, and oh, his stepdad had a divorce and possible allegations over here, and this woman doesn't like him, and he has another daughter. And what's that got to do with finding Sebastian? Nothing. He may be a jerk. He may be an abusive partner. Who knows? I don't know. I don't really care. I'd rather just find the kid. We can do more about that later. Like, we can sort all that out once we find the kid who no one has seen. Once we find the 15-year-old who apparently hasn't been seen outside of his home in 9 months, 10 months, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, there's no more information. Same with Summer. It's just people exploiting it now for clicks and YouTube and stuff like that. So that's why we're going to keep going now, and I'm going to keep going with news for you, including apparently another Australian has now been unfortunately ill in Thailand. I was like, I thought we're out of this and everything was going to be okay. Another Australian has fallen ill due to methanol poisoning. Luckily, this one seems like they are not as serious as the people who died, and they look like at this point in time, they will recover. but it seems to be still trickling on in the country. There's still people getting ill. There's still people showing up to hospitals. So I don't know what's going on over there, but here. Let me bring up this video from earlier today. Can we use that one? Okay, yes, we can.
There's been a dramatic update in the investigation into the deaths of 6 tourists, including 2 Australians, following that mass methanol poisoning in Laos. Police in that country have detained 8 employees of the hostel where Bianca Jones and Holly Bowles was staying when they fell ill.
It comes as their families made an emotional return home to Melbourne last night. We'll have the latest from there in just a moment. But first, our correspondent Bill Birtles is covering the investigation on the ground.
The manager and a bartender at the Nana Backpacker Hostel are among the people who have been detained. Laos State Media publishing a list of 8 names, all of them staff from that accommodation provider, and an official in the tourist town of Vang Vieng has also directly confirmed to the ABC that the hostel is the primary focus of the police investigation. This comes as authorities in Laos were increasingly under pressure to show some progress and transparency. It also comes as a 3rd Australian reportedly suffered ill effects from suspected methanol poisoning earlier this month. That person is reportedly in a stable condition and receiving assistance from the Department of Foreign Affairs. Now,
I'll stop it there just for 1 second. I will tell you as well, the bodies of the 2 girls who are from, actually, I think I mentioned it more than once, and people say, Ping, stop talking about it. They are from where I live. They're from the suburb where I'm from. Their bodies arrived home in Melbourne this morning, and her very upset father, at least of one of the girls, gave an interview at the airport, and it made everyone, like including the news presenter on TV, cry. Like, it's just, I can't imagine what that would be like to have to bring like your kid back in a box under an airplane from her, from her first big girl vacation, and then not have any answers really as to how this happened, and no guarantee that you're going to see any type of justice, which I don't think they will. The government can make all sorts of noise that they want, but they have a really crap history of holding anyone accountable for crimes against foreign tourists. They just don't, and they'll do something like, oh, you have to bow to the king or whatever for like 80 times, and that's your punishment. That's all you have to do. Not like you're in jail for 25 years. But if a Western tourist did something like this to their people, they'd be like, okay, let's put you in jail for like 950 years. So it's very hypocritical sometimes the way they deal with these type of situations. It is the same, yeah. She worked here where I live, but she's actually from where my parents are, next suburb over. But it's all the same thing. It's all the same area. It's all called one name, basically. Lisa says they don't mean to make methanol, just try to make alcohol. Well, I've heard 2 different things. I've heard it can be a byproduct from distillation that's not done properly, so you end up with a lot of methanol instead of your alcohol that you really want. And I've heard sometimes it's used as they use it to thin out the alcohol. So when you make alcohol, you may end up with a proof that is too high. They don't want to serve that to tourists. 1, because they can make more money. 2, because it's too high. So they thin it out. And instead of thinning it out with stuff that we all know that works better, they use methanol, unfortunately. Right, I heard that too, because there's taxes on it over there that contribute to that. So a lot of times they think by buying the methanol, they escape that taxation on it, being it's cheaper, and they make more money. So it's always economic based. Gayla says they might get a low person in the business and use them to keep it looking like they did something. That's basically what I'm expecting will happen. It just depends. It depends who does it. It could be the guy who's never worked there before, and he's like, "Yeah, 80% of this, that's fine, right?" And it could be the guy who's worked there for 45 years, and it's like, 5% of this, make them quite ill, but doesn't kill anybody. Gives them a terrible hangover, but they don't die. So I don't know. It just depends who you get, I guess. It shouldn't be like that. It should just be regulated properly. Yeah. So let's play the rest of that video.
The police in Laos haven't ruled out that other bars in the town of Vang Vieng may have served the tainted alcohol, but the detention of 8 people from the Nana hostel makes it very clear that they think the whiskey and vodka that was offered to people staying there is the most likely cause of the methanol poisoning. In total, 6 people died, but it's not exactly clear how many others were affected. A backpacker who knew some of the victims has conducted an informal survey which suggests it could be more than a dozen others who had some sort of illness while travelling through that town and staying at that hostel earlier this month. The Australian government has offered assistance to Lao police for their investigation. And even though there have been some concerns about whether this investigation will be carried out transparently, the government in Laos nonetheless has vowed to bring the perpetrators to justice.
That's Bill Birtles reporting there. Well, the families of Australian teenagers, as we said, Bianca Jones and Holly Bowles, touched down at Melbourne Airport last night. Mietta Adams is there. Mietta, the families arrived overnight.
Well, that's right, Bridget. Late last night, the families of Bianca and Holly arrived here in Melbourne Airport last night. It comes more than a week after they rushed to be by their bedsides after they fell ill from drinking drinks laced with methanol. Sadly, of course, they both died, Bianca and Holly, days between each other. Now, late last night, Mark Jones, which is Bianca's father, spoke to the media and he told us about how much he missed Bianca, but also said that he was glad that there were now developments in the investigation in Laos. Here's what he had to say.
We want to grieve. We miss our daughters desperately. I was happy to hear that there's been some movement over in Laos. I would continue to urge the Lao government to continue to pursue whomever. We will make every effort we can to help raise awareness of the methanol poisoning. We cannot have our girls passing and this continuing to happen.
Mr. Jones also said how he was so grateful for the outpouring of support he's seen from the community in the past week. He said particularly that support from VicPol, Federal Police, as well as the government. There's also been tributes that have been flowing across the community since, of course, the sad news of their deaths over the weekend. There was a small vigil held at the Beaumaris Football Club for the community to lean on each other. But we've also seen in the past couple of days a GoFundMe launched to help the families of Holly Bowles and Bianca Jones.
For her father to be able to talk, walking out of that airport, knowing that his daughter is, on the tarmac he's a very strong guy to be able to do that. I think so too. I don't know what the solution is. A lot of the people, a lot of the young kids are drinking bottled alcohol, more like, something that's like beer or, not drinking mixed drinks from behind the bar. And they think that might be a little bit safer. I don't know if it is or not. I hope it is. I hope that's what the solution is. Don't take drinks that are offered to you and don't let them mix it behind the bar where you don't know what they're using as the spirit. So very sad story, including 2 European women who died. I think one from the UK, 1 or 2, I can't remember, and one man from the USA. So a lot of people involved, a lot of countries. We need the countries to band together and apply pressure, not separately for each family, together as unison. If they do this, you will get the result you are seeking from the government over there. But I feel like if each government tries to do it separately, they will just get palmed off, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're doing a thorough investigation. Look, we already arrested 8 people. Where are they now? Oh well, we released them because we don't have the evidence to charge them, but we did arrest them one time." So we need the governments to bind together and apply economic pressure to that government to find a solution, find out who did this, and release a report on how that methanol got into the alcohol. It's the only fair thing to do for the people who died, and the families deserve real answers and a real solution so this stops happening. It's not the first time it's happened over there. It's just this seems to be the one that's happened more broadly recently. Gayla says, would the country Australia consider not being allowed to travel there? Nah, they're not going to do that. But I mean, there's probably other economic sanctions they could bring in. They tell you not to go to places due to the risk, and this is the risk. Yeah, that's true. All right, hold on a second. I'm just going to flip my browser. One sec. Yes, they need to create one like they do for the drink spiking, where you can dip your finger in the cup of whatever, and you dip it on the like the mat or the coaster, and then you can test your alcohol or whatever. If someone can make that, that'd be good. But right now, we did look at some kits last week, over $100 each, if you want to test for methanol, and like kids on a budget are not going to buy a $100 methanol testing kit to go to Laos or whatever because they're already looking for a cheap holiday. $100 is a lot of money. That's their like activity money or whatever. They're just not going to do that. It's a lot of money. So they need to either federally subsidize them for tourists, especially young people, or they need to find a way to simplify the testing process and then produce something that's easy to use at a bar. So it might. You are right. It is. We did find some test kits though. Gail says they don't. Yeah. All right. There's your update for that one. And let's head to Marietta. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. In Atlanta. All right. Play the video.
Police say her uncle caught her digging a hole in the backyard. Fox News' Denise Dillon is live in Marietta. Denise, you have learned some new and very tragic details about this case.
Yeah, it is all so heartbreaking. From the birth of a baby boy inside this home to what police found here hours later when they arrived. And we have to warn you that some of these details are disturbing.
I would never have thought anything like this happened here.
In this Marietta neighborhood, where children play in their yards and look forward to the ice cream man, no one could have imagined what police say unfolded in this home on Gramling Street. Investigators say 17-year-old Leticia Rodriguez gave birth to a baby boy in her bed early Sunday morning. A court document states the teen placed the infant in a blanket, then inside a grocery bag to conceal his death for about 6 hours. Police say a family member caught her digging a hole by the backyard tree to bury the deceased infant.
The uncle is the one that made the discovery of her digging in the backyard and contacted authorities to try and request assistance.
When officers arrived, they found the dead infant on the property.
That infant was clearly injured.
The warrant states the teen admitted to using a pocket knife to abuse the infant's body. Neighbors say they saw investigators going in and out of the home throughout the night. while the family stood outside.
All of the family was standing outside and everybody looked just very, very calm, and so it was puzzling.
The family is Guatemalan. Neighbors say they had moved in about 2 years ago, but never noticed a teenage girl.
I never seen a 17-year-old.
Rodriguez was taken to the hospital.
The trauma of childbirth, she needed medical attention. She is now at the hospital receiving that.
Once released, she will be taken to the jail. She faces charges of concealing a death, throwing away or abandonment of a dead body, and abuse of a dead body.
That's my prayer.
This is like the 5th one we've read about recently. There was the one in Florida, there was the one in Texas, there was the one now this one in Atlanta. It is brutal. Hold on, guys, sorry. There we go. Yeah, so many of these going around, unfortunately. Midlife View says, no, no, no. I mean, you hear some of those details. She used a pocket knife to abuse the body of the child and then tried to bury it in the backyard. And her uncle caught her digging a hole. I have one question. Who's the father? And what is going on here? Is there some sort of... Is this just like a teen relationship, or is she under some sort of horrific living conditions or something? I agree. I that's what I was asking about just then. Is she being SA'd, or... I mean, not every woman that decides to hurt her child and give birth at home and bury it in the backyard has some sort of abuse or something, but it's a question you got to ask, right? It's a question. Yeah, used a knife on the child. What do you want me to talk about? I don't know what you want me to talk about. You have to be more clear. You know, the chat moves at like 50 messages a minute, and I can't always see. Hey, Moonlight View, good to see you. What do you want me to look up? I'm trying to see. Someone detected a nail polish. Yeah, I've seen a few different designs for that. There's one that was on Shark Tank. It was like a hair scrunchie where you take it off your hair, and then you can put it over the glass and even have a straw that goes through it, but no one can tip anything into your glass because it's covered. There's the little square things they give out at the bar that you just dip your finger in and then touch it, and it'll tell you if it's been adulterated or not. I don't know about the nail polish, though. Oh, a nail polish. I don't know if I've ever seen a nail polish. Okay. There's one on Amazon. I can see it right here. It's called... No, that's not it. They got wristbands you can get. I see wristbands, but it's probably because I'm in Australia. Yeah, these tests for GHB. I can see drug dealers buying them going, how good is my GHB? Tested on the wristband. Hold on, let me find the article for the other one. Here. Nail polish that detects date rape drugs stirs a storm. They say 4 North Carolina State University students have dreamed up a striking way to detect date rape drugs that's getting some major media buzz. What can it detect? Nail polish formulation to change color if you dip your finger in a drink spiked with one of the incapacitating drugs such as GBH. No, it's GHB. GBH stands for grievous bodily harm. That's not a real drug. It's GHB, my friend. They call it GBH was sort of like a nickname for it, but that's not actually the name they're supposed to use. Rohypnol and Xanax. And if you're going to test for GHB, you also need to test for its precursor chemicals, including GBL, and also a different drug, which is a industrial solvent, which is often substituted for GHB, which is called 1,4-B, which is often used in place of GBL, GHB, stuff like that. So you'd also have to test for that because real GHB is hard to come by. It's not super common, but GBL, the precursor to GHB, is a lot more common, and 1,4-B is a lot more common than both of them. Don't ask me how I know, but I just know these things. The simple approach says the simple approach fired the imaginations of journalists around the world this week, just as the college fall semester was getting underway. I want to see it work. I want to see how it works. What's it called? The startup is called Undercover Colors. Okay. Can we get a demonstration of it? Now post your address. All right. Yeah, here. Let's go to CBS News in the UK. No, in the USA. If it'll play. Play the video. All right.
Use of date rape drugs are all too common on college campuses and bars.
It's like an unfortunate, kind of reality you almost adopt when you go to college and you're a girl.
It's so widespread, 4 male college students decided to come up with a unique way to stop it before it happens. According to the group's Facebook page, they created a nail polish called Undercover Colors that can detect popular date rape drugs like Rohypnol, Xanax, and GHB. All you have to do is stir your drink with your finger, and the nail polish will change colors if a date rape drug is present.
It's scary. You hear lots of stories about things that happen to girls, drugs, anything like that. And knowing that just because I'm wearing a nail polish and I could just stick my finger in it and be like, oh, hey, I'm safe. That's definitely would be a reason to buy a nail polish like that.
While everyone agrees this is a good idea, experts here at University Hospital say it can create a false sense of security because these types of drugs only test a handful of the date rape drugs that exist.
Every day they're changing the chemical formula where labs are having a hard time keeping up with the chemical makeup of these things. So a nail polish couldn't possibly cover everything out there.
What experts do like is that it's bringing awareness to a crime that is happening more and more. But students like Clare Molina say while empowering women is important, more needs to be done in the way of prevention.
We spend a lot of time teaching girls how to learn not to get raped instead of teaching boys not to rape.
The students who are developing the nail polish say their goal is to shift the fear from the victims to the perpetrators. Experts say with coasters and straws coming onto the market that also test for date rape drugs, it just might work. Jacqueline Kelly, Eyewitness News.
You know, the nurse brought up the same issue that I just said, is that you're going to have a hard time if you only test for those 4 specific drugs. That's all it'll pick up unless you can somehow get it to test for all the precursor chemicals or, variations. So what's happening in the world right now, and it's been going on for about 20 years, is as soon as something is regulated or made illegal, these labs, what they do is they slightly change the molecule, and then it's got a different designation. So say it's GHB. It'll be the one that everyone uses is GBL, which transforms into GHB in your liver. But anyway, what they'll do is they'll slightly change that molecule into something else. We don't know the side effects of it, but they advertise it that it's the same basic thing. So yeah, it's very, I don't know how you get around that issue, but Thavi says, here for a few minutes in bed. Have a good sleep, my friend. So I would be worried about that. That's what I would be worried about, is how do you work around that issue of different formulations. Yeah, they do it with everything. They do it with everything. I'm telling you, like they do it with. Just think of a drug that you can think of, like anything. They do it with everything. This is how they get around the lawmakers. So, Australia used to allow some of these chemicals to come in the country. And then when they banned it, they made a mistake. And the mistake was that they didn't ban precursor chemicals in a certain way. So it was actually legal to bring it in. So when they banned GHB to come in the country, they didn't ban GBL. And GBL just transfers in the liver to GHB. So people often use it like that. They use it like they drink it, as where GHB normally can come in like a salt or a powder, some sort of like a thicker substance. So they made a mistake with that, and a lot of people were importing it. Then they banned GBL, but then they didn't ban 1,4-B, which is a similar chemical. It produces a similar effect, but it's slightly more dangerous because it's a solvent. It's a solvent used for industrial machines and cleaning stuff, and it has its own risk profile with it. So yeah, it's like a cat and mouse game with these labs. Uh, Patty says it's an evil world we're living in. Unbelievable people do this to people. That's right. I hear Morning says that's why I went the hard to tamper with scrunchy drink covers. I like them. They were on Shark Tank. They were a bunch of students as well that designed it, and the girls can wear it in their hair, and then when they have a drink, they can pull it out and then put it over the drink. I think that is a good idea. Yeah, it is a scary world. I think it's even changed since I was a young hoodlum, and I think it's become a lot harder. Now you have things like PMA and other derivatives that are killing people. If you're in the festival scene, it's just a whole. It's really hard. It's a hard industry to regulate. The biggest threat for what? For drink spiking? Mm, I actually think it's probably sedatives of like, some sort of sedative, probably not GHB. I think GHB gets such a bad rap. It's not a good drug. I'm just saying it gets a bad rap, but it's not super duper common. It's actually sort of hard to get. It'd probably be 1,4-B. Yeah, as a DR drug, 1,4-B, 100%. It's so easy to get. There was a guy arrested. You want to see how easy? All right, hold on 1 second. Let me load up this story. This was just from last week. Yeah. So this guy got busted with all this precursor chemicals about 20 minutes, not even 10 minutes from where I live in this was in Mordialloc. He had enough 1,4-B, which is an industrial solvent used to make plastics, which has a similar effect to GHB when ingested. They said he had something like 100,000 doses of it. I think they said he had, 730 kilograms of 1,4-B, or some people call it 1,4-bute. They saying he had tartaric acid too, which is used to make and purify meth. It's used for some other stuff too. Got to do with the 1,4-B and some other stuff. I think the cops made a bit of an assumption there. They say a ton of 1,4-B could make 100,000 potential lethal doses if it hit the street. He's 36 years old, and they tracked him down in a car in Mordialloc, and he had another 10 kilos of mystery powder in his car. This guy had. Yeah, so it's everywhere. See, criminal syndicates care only for the profits this dangerous substance can make them, substituting it for GHB given the cheaper price. Overwhelmingly, what users believe is GHB is 1,4-B. Completely different chemical. So there you go. I would say it's 1,4-B because 1,4-B has been around for 25 years. People have been using it as a substitute for GHB for 2 decades. No, meth has been around here for almost 3 decades. I think it's already a problem. It's already a big problem. If you're just talking about the DR stuff, like the date stuff, it's 1,4-B. If you're talking about in society, then it's probably a mix between cocaine and meth. They're the 2 problem drugs. Love is a 4-letter word. Hey, my friend, good to see you. Oh, is Glitter here? Where's Glitter? I don't see Glitter. I'm getting old. I have to squint. I'm like, I don't see her in the list. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Hey, Glitter. Hey, my friend. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So there you go. A guy caught just the other day with this is the drug police taking down his lab, apparently. So yeah. Here, let me reboot this so we can watch it again. This is all the stuff that they found in his car. Yeah. This was 730 kilos of 1,4-B. Oh, not this lady. I don't know what she's doing. But there you go. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm blocked? What? What do you mean I'm blocked? I don't know what she's talking about. I'm blocked. Here, let's get this off. I don't want to play that. No, I don't want. Why do you want to do that to me? I don't want to play your stupid video. Yeah, I'm just going to change to this one. You can't do that when I'm live on the air because YouTube actually can block you for doing certain things. So they can kick you off the air. So it's not a fun joke. No. Oh, fuck's sake. Hold on, guys, 1 second. All right, sorry. It's like 5:30 here and it's like home time, so I'm getting phone calls about what I want for dinner. So, love is a 4-letter word, says hit the blunt. I don't smoke weed. I don't smoke. Sorry, guys. I'm here. It's okay. I had to make a phone call. It's easier to write a phone call than me keep having to text back to her. No, it's not either. It was Mrs. Ping asking what I wanted for dinner. She's like, "What do you want for dinner?" And I was like, "Can you get some pork buns?" And she's like, "They don't have that." And I'm like, "What do you mean they don't have that? They sell like 4 different types." And she's like, "Yeah, they're all sold out." So I was like, and then it doesn't matter. We figured it out. It's all good. It's all good. I don't care what I eat as long as I eat something. All right. Yeah, there we go. There's those university students. These guys. I find it interesting that they're all men. Okay. I thought, the one with the hair scrunchie was women that came up with it. I know, I know. What time is it? It's 2 to 5 right now, like 2 to 5 PM down here. Yeah, that's why I muted the stream in cold because stopping every 2 minutes to type a text message is annoying, and it's just easier to convey in about 3 seconds what I want. I'm just like, "Hey, just can you look for this?" So, yeah, it's home time. All right, let me see what else I got on my list for tonight. I don't know if I do. We had that one, that one, that one. Oh, yeah. Actually, I don't know if they've done this one, but I saw this the other day, and I don't know why we didn't do it up until now, but that's okay. Did you all see the Baby Garnet thing where a TikToker did a DNA test, and eventually a cold case detective contacted her and said, "Oh, yeah, hey, your DNA is a direct match to the person we're looking for in relation to a dead baby that was found inside a drop toilet in a camping ground like 20 years ago." Yeah, I'll show it to you. They say a grandmother arrested over a 27-year-old cold case after granddaughter takes a DNA test. And they're saying Nancy Ann, and is it Gerwat? I always have problems with these names. Gerwatowski was arrested in 2022 on charges of murder, involuntary manslaughter, and concealing a body, according to Click on Detroit. The arrest came after police used her 23-year-old granddaughter's DNA when she submitted an ancestry DNA test. They say Jenna was mind blown, that's the girl, when the dark truth of her family was blown open and her grandmother, who she's never met, was revealed to have allegedly murdered her own baby. Authorities believe Nancy gave birth at home, and when the child died of asphyxiation, before she allegedly hid the newborn's body in an outhouse at the Garrett Lake campground in Hudson. They say investigators claim she confirmed to them that she is the child's mother, and there is the baby girl Garnet headstone from 1997. So that would be so creepy to get that phone call. I mean, it's happened more often enough that you could almost make a TV channel out of all the time someone has blown a case wide open because they've submitted for a DNA test kit. Also, now that we're on the thing for DNA, I heard the other day, I heard some new information about 23andMe. Apparently, there is a really good chance that they're going to go bankrupt. I was watching a financial report the other day on DNA companies, and apparently, what happened is when 23andMe was first made, it had a lot of backer funding, and the original test was about $1,000, like just shy of $1,000. With that backer funding that they got through investment funding, they lowered the price to $99. But their inherent issue with their business plan is that you only really need to do it once, and that's it. So you only need to do the test kit one time. You have no repeat market. Now, what they did bring in was a secondary service where you could learn about your health and risk profile and stuff like that. And that was like $139 a year. And apparently, around the same time that they were having these financial troubles, the Golden State Killer was announced, and people started freaking out that their DNA could be used in a way that they didn't want it to be used, and their sales fell off a cliff. And it's been like that for a number of years now too. And unfortunately, I don't know if they're gonna keep going. Apparently, they just have no cash left. They don't have any funding, and there's a real chance that they'll be into bankruptcy shortly. So it's not good. Yeah, I thought it would be making a ton of money. Oh, okay. I hope you find a good one. Yeah, it's 5 PM where I am. Yeah. Trisha took one tonight. Did she? Did she do it for Othram though? What company did she do? Was it for Othram or I'll have to wait for an answer. I'm waiting for someone to tell me if it was Othram or 23. Yeah, it was for Othram. Yeah. Yeah, it's all good. They are who I think might take over the market for it, Othram. So if they can obliterate 23andMe's customer database, or if they end up wanting to sell assets in a bankruptcy sale, I can see Othram buying up their database, which would be good for everyone. And yeah, I could see them taking over where 23andMe failed. The difference between Othram and 23andMe, Othram's main line of inquiry and business is not DNA test kitting or selling for research. Their main line of inquiry is DNA and genetic genealogy. And they do that for law enforcement. They get their funding and for, the lab work they do. So they have a completely different financial, stream for money. They are not relying on selling test kits to make their profit. So I would be very pleased if they took over where 23andMe did it. They don't give you much info. I'll talk to Trish and I'll see. I don't know what it's for. Are they doing it just to build up their bank of DNA and they're not actually giving you any information really back? It's more to help them fill in gaps for their own internal research and tools for their cold case work. That's what I would wonder if that's what it's for. Patty said there's way too much info out there now about us. I'm not volunteering my DNA. One of the big risks I saw apparently is if 23andMe does go under, what if an insurance broker bought their database? There's no law that would stop it either. So what if they bought it in a bankruptcy sale? What then? Because it already is too late to back out. They're already in a foreclosure sale. Yeah, I would be worried about that. I'd be very worried that someone like an insurance company or, some nefarious bloody corporation would take it and use it against you. Rachel says, I'm not worried about the use to catch criminals. I'm worried about it used for medical insurance. There you go, for your rates to go up. Or not even that they would make your rates go up. They just deny you outright because they'll say you're at a predisposition for a certain type of illness and that we're not going to offer it to you at all. So then they leave you out to dry when you really need the insurance. Sienna says, but yeah, I'll check with Trish. I'll see if I'll see what it is. I don't know. I've never done a DNA test, even though I don't know who my parents are and I don't know really what country I'm from or anything like that, or what my background or nationality is. And it's something I've always wanted to do, but being that I worked in security and cybersecurity for most of my life, I know what people can get up to. In bad security environments. So it always makes me very cautious about giving anything that's biometric to anyone. I don't even use biometrics on my phone because I'm worried they're going to steal my fingerprint. not like worried, but like, what if someone got that and then they have your fingerprint on file? They could do anything with that. Gayla says that should be illegal. There are laws against it, but there's no laws against buying the data. Yeah, you must be behind. Must be. Let me see. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Cakes Boo says, I did it. I had to know what I was and where I came from. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing it, but with the kerfuffle with 23andMe now, I'm not sure what company I want to use. So I'm a little hesitant in doing that right now. By the way, I've been chasing up our prototype hoodies all week. Every day I'm actually trying to chase it up, trying to get our prototype photos so I can show you. And each time I keep getting replies from them saying, "Oh, because it's Black Friday and there's a lot of sales on, we're a little behind." So I'm hoping to have it before the end of the week so I can show you. So I can show you the final design. Laura T says, actually, I could actually be Spanish. No, we actually think we actually think more likely than not, I would have a high degree of British or Scottish or Irish, something like that. Very, very UK. Very, very UK, apparently. You should see the ginger in my beard in person. I have all the ginger. Which is weird because I don't have ginger. I'm not ginger in my hair or anything, but my beard is got a ton of ginger in it. Thavi says, I did 23andMe because I'm adopted. I want to know my biological side. That's the bit I don't want to know about. I couldn't give a stuff about my friggin' biological parents. I couldn't care less about it. STL Card says, who actually has dollars for this garbage? I don't know. People with disposable income, I guess. I guess people that have money for it. I don't know. People spend stuff on all sorts of crap. There's people who go skydiving. I don't agree with that, but they like it. Gayla says my dad's and brother's beards are a word ginger. My kids are pure ginger. Mine's not pure, but I have a ton of it in there. Gambler says I did ancestry a few years ago. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to get to. Patty L says I'm Scottish, Irish, a lot of gingers in my family. We'll see. I might. I don't know. I want to research the companies a bit more. Genealogists. That's right. That's who has it. RX Girl says I'm Welsh and Scottish and Irish, so yes, my hair is naturally red. It's very interesting. Cakes Boo says I don't trust it, to be honest. They say I'm Scottish and English, but I know my great grandfather was half Jamaican. Yeah, actually, do you want to know a really weird story about that? We had a family member who had always been told that there was a Indian in our family somewhere up the chain, like his great grandmother had slept with an Indian guy and they had a child. And when he did his DNA test, he was hoping to see the chain to where this Indian person comes into our DNA mix. And when they got it back, it wasn't in there at all. No subcontinent, not even close. It was all like Germanic, UK, like Iceland, Norway, like it was all like those kind of countries. No subcontinent, no Asia, East Asia, nothing like that. And he's very confused because his mother assured him that his great grandmother, great grandmother, something like that, one of the ladies had an affair and had a Indian lover and had a child with that person who became one of the great grandfathers or something. So, but it wasn't there. It wasn't there in the DNA test. I hate Morning says I saved up for mine because of the health issues. It would be good insight for that. Without any tests, I'm Scottish and German. Just claim a country, everyone. Just claim a country. See, I am from Thailand, obviously. Obviously from Thailand. You know, sometimes Scottish, sometimes from Spain as well. Depends what day it is. All right, let's go here. All right, one more, and then I'm going to get you guys out of here. What is this? All right. Let me just double check. All right. Let's go to Denver. Denver, Colorado. You're not going to play this for me? All right, yeah. Sometimes it won't play. You're going to be a jerk? All right, fine. I'll get you guys another one. It's all right. Yeah. So I brought you the story, I think, yesterday. Well, they finally have a conclusion to it, and I wanted to show that to you.
Tonight, a 7-year-old boy who is the subject of an Amber Alert that hit our phones this afternoon is safe.
Lakewood police believe a woman shot the 7-year-old's father and then took off with the boy. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez is in Lakewood tonight. And Colton, you spoke with the boy's family.
Yeah, that's right, Kim. And it was a roller coaster of emotions for this family today as they waited and hoped for any good news.
So we were confident that he was okay.
It was a faith that Uriah Say Jr.'s family held on to.
Yes. We believed it all day long.
Even when they had no idea where he was.
It was a wonderful, wonderful revelation to have.
Early Monday morning, near this apartment complex off Kendall Street, Uriah's father was shot. Lakewood police say his girlfriend, Crystal Denman, was a suspect. And while they were investigating, they say they learned Denman had abducted Uriah.
We're praying for a safe return.
In those early hours, his cousin, Marquita Mays, held on to hope.
Huge fear.
That he was okay.
We are really praying that she does not harm him in no shape, way, or form.
It was never a question for his mother, Ariel.
He's going to come back. He's going to be safe. And, we'll be together soon, so...
Uriah was found safe Monday afternoon. Lakewood police say they found him with Denman over 80 miles east in Washington County near the town of Last Chance. Uriah's family eagerly awaited his return home.
Hallelujah! Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Through faith and family,
we're grateful for the reunion.
They have a lot to be grateful for tonight.
Woo! Yes, thank you, guys. I'm hoping that maybe families can get together this holiday and share some real thankful cheer.
And I have to say, watching that family, the progression we saw today from the heartbreak earlier in the day to really seeing that celebration at the end, it warms everybody's heart. Now, as for Denman, she was taken into custody in Washington County. There are charges pending against her. And one thing we also learned is that the boy's father is in the hospital right now recovering from those injuries. Live in Lakewood tonight, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
Hey, it's always nice to get a somewhat of a happy ending after what seems like a very traumatic, situation. It didn't sound good at the start. It says Crystal Denman was in court Tuesday morning for her first advisement, where prosecutors said she was under a no contact order, meaning she was not allowed to contact the boy's father. And they say the woman is accused of abducting a man's 7-year-old child from Lakewood on Monday and was prohibited from contacting the man after she had allegedly threatened his girlfriend about 2 weeks ago, according to new court documents released on Tuesday. They say the boy's disappearance on Monday led to an Amber Alert after police determined he had been taken from a Lakewood apartment after a shooting that injured his father early in the morning. The boy was found safe around 3:45 p.m. outside of Last Chance in Washington County on Colorado's Eastern Plains, and the suspect was arrested. The boy has been reunited with his family. They say Oriel Green, the boy's mother, spoke with Denver 7 on Monday after learning her son was found safe. She said her son is very smart, artsy, shy, and loves dinosaurs. She says, "He's my baby. He's the sweetest kid you'll ever meet, literally. I just want to hold him and never let him go." She said the injured man in the shooting Monday is her child's father, and the woman arrested is his ex-girlfriend. that woman was in court on Tuesday morning for her first advisement. She appeared in an orange jail outfit. They said in the courtroom, the prosecutor said Denmon shot the boy's father in the chest, stole his phone, and took the child from the apartment. Just before this, she had threatened the man at the apartment, which was caught on camera. The prosecution said at the time of the shooting, Denman was under a no-contact order where she was not allowed to contact the boy's father. He had repeatedly told her to stay away from him. The man is currently still in hospital unconscious with a breathing tube, they said at a press conference on Monday, although he is expected to recover from his injuries. Wow. The prosecution asked for a $500,000 bond. They say at the end of the Tuesday's court hearing, the judge ordered a protection order for both the boy and his father, and they did set a $500,000 cash bond against the accused woman. She's next due in court on December 4, when a judge will read the charges filed against her. So there you go, $500,000 bond. The man is expected to survive. The child was found safe. Unfortunately, he's unconscious right now with a breathing tube, but I think that's just to let his injuries, heal. But apparently he will be okay. Nice to see a good ending, even though the first bit was a little scary, but good to see a good ending for once. Patty L says, hopefully this crazy lady will get a lot of prison time. Hopefully. Natasha says, my brother is blonde with a ginger beard. He sounds like he's from Norway or like one of those European countries. Germanic. Patty L says, so many Looney Tunes out there. I know, she had it's not often we hear about women who have a protection order against them and then they violate it. Most of the time we hear about men. It's men who have protection orders against them and they're violating them to see the women. It's not often we see it the other way around, but it does show you that it does happen sometimes. Rachel said, I think that's a woman that doesn't need to make bond. I don't think she has $500,000. I think she'll be in jail. Gambler says, mine is mostly England, which is no surprise, also Germanic. Yeah. I think a lot of people are that. Yeah, awesome to hear a happy ending. I agree. Great news. 100%. Yes, please hit the like button. Remember to subscribe to the channel. YouTube's doing that weird thing again where they unsubscribe people. It is really cool. All right, we're going to wind up for tonight. I will be back tomorrow, hopefully earlier. Iburn? I don't know, maybe. Yes, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right, let me check one thing that I'm going to get you guys out of here. Hope to have those hoodie samples, or at least photos of them tomorrow. And I can't wait to show you. So hold on. I'm not sure if you can hear the thunderstorm, but there's like a crazy loud thunderstorm going over right now. A lot of hail, rain, and thunder. Yeah, I might be able to show you very quickly before we go. It's not a good photo, but there's the storm there coming across. You can see all the rain in the background. This looks like some sort of leading edge here. But a lot of thunderstorms coming across Victoria tonight. Let's see if I can show you on the radar. Yeah, here. So there you go. You can see all the thunderstorms moving across Melbourne right now. Got a lot of thunderstorm activity heading across the state. Thank you. I appreciate everyone. Yeah, I can't wait to show you. I want to see what the we put like a holographic section in, and I want to see how that turns out. So they're supposed to show me samples, and if they're good, then we can say yes and complete the order. But I haven't got those proof photos yet. which I'm hoping to have soon. They're supposed to be Monday, but they're saying we've got so many orders because of Black Friday, and they're like, we're behind. Rachel, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Rachel might win it with all the super chat she's given. She might. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate it. That's very kind. Patty L says your dinner is probably ready. Tell Mrs. Ping hello. Enjoy your dinner. Love ya. She's not home yet. I have to go help her get in here with all the rain. So yes, but we normally eat late. So we eat very, very late. Normally it's like 11 p.m. before I even sit down to eat. So yeah, I love you guys too. We'll be back tomorrow, okay? If I wasn't so tired, I'd keep going, but I am drained. That vet visit was like, it took everything out of me because I hate hearing, Muffin is a crier. He yowls, and he was yowling the whole time, and it's so sad because he sounds so upset about it, and it really tugs on your heartstrings because, like, I don't want to make my cats, stressed or upset, and he just yowls the entire time, and he cries out, and so I hate doing that. But yeah, we got them done. They got their vaccinations. They got their worming stuff, and then when they did the check on Rory, they found out she has to have surgery. So that's a great update. But they were good cats. They were good cats. Although Muffin is still not my friend. He's hiding, and he doesn't want to be my friend anymore. He's like, you might take me back to the vet. I'm not your friend anymore. He needs headphones. Yeah, he does. Which is funny because he loves outside, just not when you take him to the vet. He's like, I don't like outside anymore. I want to go back to my home. So I haven't seen him in like 24 hours. He's hiding in the curtains in another room. And he's very angry with his owners. He's like, I cannot believe you took me to that place again where they gave me a needle. They gave me a needle. How dare you? Yeah, he's very upset. Angela says, I thought they could leave her until just after Christmas. No, they're closed. So our vet is closing on the 24th, and they're not opening up until mid-January. And the vet really wants to get it done. She thinks that if we leave it for like close to 2 months, it's too long, and it could risk her getting even more ill. So the vet forced us into it. They want to do it now. So 2 days after we get back, we're going to drop her off. She's having day surgery. And then, yeah, we pick her up the next day. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know. I don't like the vet either. She takes all my money. No, no, our vet's pretty good. Our vet's pretty good. She tries to do what she can. When she told me it was going to be $1,500 for Rory, I almost fainted in the vet room. I swear. I was expecting her to say like 500 or something. She's like, "Oh, it'll be like, between $1,200 and $1,500." And I almost had a heart attack. He's not going. It's only the big fluffy Rory is going for surgery, so he can stay here. We don't have pet insurance because last time we had it and Muffin got sick, they wouldn't allow us to claim on it, and it was basically like a waste of money. We had it for years and we paid a lot of money into it, and then when Muffin got sick, they said it was outside the scope of the insurance, and we're like, what's the point? What's the point in having it? So it was stupid. They're going into a cat hotel. So we paid for a cat hotel. It's like really pretty. They got like different rooms and stuff, and they got like couches, and they do massages on the cat once a day. So they got like a full boutique experience while we're away. So they're going to a cat hotel. Yeah, I know. They just said if we do it now, it'll solve problems later for Rory. If we leave it any longer, she's like, it could be like 4,500 to get it fixed. And she's like, this is the cheapest to do it now. She's like, do it now. It'll hurt, but it won't be like super bad. But she's like, if you leave it and come back like in March next year, it could cost like $5,000. So she's like, do it now. So yeah, we just got to somehow make it happen before Christmas. I will see you guys tomorrow though, okay? Yeah, it is 4 seasons in one day in Melbourne. Hey, I love you all very much. Have a great night out there. I got to go help get Missy in the house. All right. Good night. Bye bye.